Hi, family. Welcome back to Love, Life, and Jesus with the Iyinoluwa. This podcast is where we explore real life experiences through the lens of the faith, healing, and God's love. Here, we are honest, we're vulnerable, and we are learning to live with Jesus at the center of it all. So, if this is your first time here, you're welcome. Today's episode is titled The Waiting Room, and it's for anyone who has ever questioned God. Question him in sentences like, God, I'm doing all I know how to do. So why have I not received the promise? Or why has this thing that you have promised me concerning this particular matter has not come to pass? Maybe you are in a season where it feels very slow, heavy, or confusing. You're praying, you're believing, but the answers feel delayed and life doesn't look like what God has once showed you. If that is you, you're not alone, and this episode is for you. There are seasons where it feels like God is silent and like everything is delayed. You remember the promises, you remember the confirmations. You can actually tell where you were, what you did, or even still what you wore when God gave you that promise concerning that particular matter. But what you see, what your current reality is, or even what your life is currently, does not match any of that. And it hurts deeply. Now, let me share with you my own personal experience so that you can understand that I know what it is that I'm talking about. And while our situations might not look the same, I believe that all of us are in the waiting room. And waiting is not easy, but waiting on God is extremely hard. Last year was one of the toughest years that I've ever had to go through in my adult life. I was in a financial mess and I was waiting on God for a breakthrough. I cried, I prayed, I fasted, I wailed, I begged God. Whatever it is that I could have done in that season, I did. And I received so many promises of God's help. I received promises from the Bible. My devotion spoke about those kind of promises. Promises like you will lend to nations and not borrow. Once I was young, now I'm old. I've never seen the righteous forsaken or a seed spread bread. The lilies of the fields do not hunger. They do not think of what they are going to wear. Promises along that line. And right after praying, all the people that I was owing, they would start calling immediately. And it felt as if they had a meeting where all of them knew that I was owing them because the rate at which they would just call or even message me. And it was overwhelming. I even had anxiety. Like if my phone should ring like this, my heart would skip a beat. And life was not even stopping. That moment, my gas will finish. One bill will show up that I needed to pay. There was no food in my house and there was no money. And in that moment, with tears and with exhaustion, I will go back to God and be like, but you promised to help me. You gave me your word. So why are you not helping me? In fact, it was in that very season that somebody that could have helped decided not to. And I placed my hope on that person because the person had the capacity to. But in that season, that person could not just help. And I was very tired and frustrated. And it was hard. So I get it. I get what it's like when God has spoken and still everything around you says the opposite. Maybe you started questioning whether you heard him right. I did. I questioned God. Or worse, maybe you think that he has changed his mind about you or is even angry with you. Or maybe you think that it's because you are sinned, you're not righteous. That's why God is not answering you. I'm here to remind you today that God does not lie and He does not forget. Delay is not denial. Silence is not absence. I've learned that in the gap between the promise and the fulfillment, God is shaping something in us. Sometimes what is growing is faith, or trust, or even capacity. And even when it doesn't look like it, God is still working. There are gifts hidden in the wilderness: strength, depth, intimacy with God that you wouldn't even trade later. A year later, I'm still not totally out of the woods, but I'm definitely in a more better place than I was last year. And all the times I was waiting for God to show up, He actually did. But I couldn't just see it because I expected Him to move in a particular way. And I know that that is what you're actually thinking now. But God was showing up for me in making sure that the people that I was owing, they either gave me more time, some gave me discounted amounts to pay, some allowed me pay in installments. Some people even cleared off the debt for me and told me not to pay back. And in that moment, I had people that would randomly send me money. I had people that were there for me. They held my hands through it, especially financially. A random allowance even could get paid at work right at that moment when I needed it. I also learned how to pray more, and I learned how to hear the voice of God more. Now, I'm in another waiting room, and it doesn't feel heavy as it was last year because now I know better and I see God even in the small things. So if your life doesn't look like the promise, hold on. God hasn't forgotten you and He's not punishing you. See, the Bible says that all of our righteousness before God, He has a filthy rag. That means that no matter the righteousness that you think that you are able to perform, is nothing before God. So your righteousness is not even enough for God to say that, oh, it's because of your righteousness I'm going to do this. Because our righteousness is a gift that God has given to us. So I need you to remember that God is preparing you. And whatever He has said, He's going to do. You're not behind. And you're not unseen. You're being refined in love. So until then, until when you get the fulfillment of God's promises, keep trusting, because even here, God is with you. I'm going to leave you with this encouraging word for the week. And it is in Romans chapter 8 and verse 28. And it says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." If you do not remember everything that I have said today, I want you to remember this. Even when it doesn't look like the promise, God is still working behind the scenes, in the silence, and through the waiting. I pray for you that this week, may you be reminded that your journey is not wasted and that God is actively weaving purpose through every season for you. And that may your heart be rest assured and know that this season is going to pass. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. With all my love, Iyinoluwa.